Welcome to the West County ACA Speaker Series, recorded in St. Louis, Missouri. We meet every Thursday as a literature discussion, and the first week of the month is our ACA Speaker Meeting. Speakers are asked to share their story and one tool they find most useful in their ACA recovery. If you'd like to contact us, email westcounty@acastl.org. We hope you enjoy.
It may not take much effort on our part, yet it can be huge to the other person. Sometimes we may never learn the positive impact we may have had. Or maybe we have other gifts, such as the words to write in the book that inspires millions. Whatever the case, we remember that each talent we possess is tremendously valuable, no matter whether it helps only ourselves or others. Freeing ourselves from our cloudy thinking is what makes room for our ability to see, develop, and express our talents. That's part of the beauty of ACA. As we feel understood and appreciated, it frees us to express our gifts, becoming whole, well-rounded, recovering adult children. On this day, I recognize that I have unique talents. I am now willing to develop and express them as I learn how valuable I am to myself and others.
Thank you, Ronnie. It was beautiful. All right. Well, that brings us to our speaker. I've known our speaker for quite a while. Got to know her more since we've been at ACA together, and especially the 6 a.m. meeting. I don't know if I'm knowable at 6 a.m. but doing it anyway. So anyway, with that, I give you Martha.
Thank you. How long?
An hour or less.
Wow. Should really have some fun stories in an hour, but that's the wrong program for that. All right. So hi, I am Martha. I am somebody who is working on myself here, and I find that learning about parenting myself helps me parent my children and helps me to have an okay relationship with my mother. I got into this program because I can't 100% remember the reason other than continuously hearing, oh yeah, your child, oh yeah. So my parents were both in the program and people knew them. So when I would speak to sponsors from back home, which was Michigan, sponsors in the beverage program, that's the program they're in, not this one, they would say, oh, yeah, it does not surprise me you're having issues with relationships, Martha. I mean, your parents. And these things would happen. And the other thing that I heard a lot was, I would have these people in my life, and it was usually a spouse or significant other that would hear me speak to my parents, and they would be like, whoa, why can't you get along with your parents? What is wrong with you? And I was like, do you hear them? He was like, why does it get to you so much? Like, you react so strongly to your parents. It's bizarre. They're like just old people. And I was like, I was just so angry. And conversations would end. They would hang up on me. I would hang up on them. I mean, super mature, right? On both of our parts. I'm an adult hanging up on an old person, and an old person is hanging up on me. That is not healthy. And it's just how things went. So those are some of the things that got me into this program. Is I'm sure I had a tussle, and I finally was like hearing somebody was talking about ACA, so I came here. And for me, I associated more with there are the two laundry lists. At first, I associated more with the other laundry list where you are the persecutor, because I wanted to be tough, right? So in my household, I envisioned both of my parents. I had a father from New Jersey, and a mother from Scotland. So we've got totally off the rails, socially unacceptable man, and then we have super polite Scottish person who my father always said she lived in the hills, she didn't have electricity, she has no idea what's going on. So, that's the way he spoke, and she was very polite. The only swear word I ever heard her say was bloody bastard. I heard that like one time about a fly that wouldn't go away. She did not swear. And so my father swore all the time, they were just bizarre people. he was an extremely angry person, but also hilarious, right? I now can see, and even then I saw really good qualities. My father she'll even say this, he's the one who raised you, Martha. He's the one who taught you things. I just wasn't cut out for being a mom, which I wanted to be all victim-y about for a while and be like, now I have to deal with you and I don't like you. And so all of this is what's happening. And I mean, in my household, there was a lot of arguing, and that's what happened. There were many good things, though. And I've come to realize in this program that I don't know the truth about what happened in my childhood. I only know what I took from it. And there were good things, and I can choose to remember those good things, and I can choose to be honest about the not great things and honest about what scripts and messages continue to play in my head that operate and I'm operating from, and how I navigate and react to life with. And so I really spent some time in ACA, eventually taking the victim role and flipping over there. A couple of things that happened since I've joined ACA is that my father ended up dying, and prior to this, I was often telling my mother, you need to figure your life out. My mother is a very dependent person. She didn't drive a car. She didn't want to touch finances. She was the one who just let my father take care of her. And my father would tell me, it's your responsibility when I die. I'm going to die before her. That woman's going to live forever, and I'm sick and unhealthy, and you're going to have to take care of her. And so I'm the only child. We've alienated ourselves from most of the rest of the family. Half of the family's in Scotland. The other half is on the East Coast. And I mean, I didn't have a funeral for my father. He didn't want one, but nobody came to visit. It's not because they're in bad. That's just the kind of family we are. And my dad was different. So family's a bunch of alcoholics. Dad doesn't really, he didn't do that. Again, many good things I learned from my parents. So I really launched even further into this program in a minute after he died. I instantly forgave him. All of that washed away. The control that he had over my life was gone in my mind because he was a very domineering force. And so I forgave him, and that's wonderful. But here I am now with my mom. In 2 years, she got on a waiting list, and she ended up in here. She lives in Kirkwood now. And I will tell you, I'm going to back up a little bit. I was married to this man who I would introduce pregnant, wasn't married. Pregnant, wasn't married. We were at a meeting. This is Matt. I can't stand him. That's how I would introduce him if that told you how mature and respectable my relationship was going. And then I married him anyway because God forbid I leave and have my children not have a father. Even though I did try to kick him out and he wouldn't leave. So all sorts of things going on, really healthy relationships, right? So we had this situation, and as soon as my father died, I was in this miserable marriage. And as soon as my father died, I will tell you, I went and found somebody after, I went through a divorce, and then I found somebody not exactly like him, but very similar. All of my life, I had tried to stay away from that type of a personality, but I ended up getting involved with somebody, and that person also was the buffer. I always had to have a buffer between my mom and I because I just didn't want to be around. My mom and I are totally different people. She's very critical in her polite way and just very different. And so this person moved her up here and would make me go visit my mom every week. And ultimately, when that relationship ended, I was faced with this expectation and my father's thoughts and my anger and all of these traits that were just screaming at me constantly. I've got to do all this stuff. I can't see. It's the resentment you have. It's all of the things that are happening toward this woman who is so dependent on me, and I am trying to overperform because here I am single now, taking care of 2 kids, working an insane corporate job, and I am dealing with my mother calling me 7 times a day. Now, part of this is just because she's older, and sometimes if you've ever experienced caretaking, this will happen with older people. but part of it is all of that baggage I had from my past. So I've had to work through a lot of that. I've had to really launch into these traits and understand how to integrate them into my life and stop ping-ponging back between Mrs. Badass, hard-ass, hard-line boundary, I'm not going to talk to you, fuck you, don't talk to me, and this super, I'm going to do everything for you, you're old, and oh my God. So it's this internal insanity that I had going on with other laundry list, other laundry list. And that's what the integrating of these traits has been for me, is to learn the appropriate in-between. And then I've got little kids here, and they're not that little anymore. They're 8 and 11. They're almost 9 and 12. And I am experiencing situations where I find myself wanting to yell at them, which was not something I ever did before, but that's been coming up, where they do something and I'm like, what the? And it's like I hear my parents, what the hell are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? We talked about this. You're not supposed to do that. And then I hear myself and I catch myself and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot repeat this cycle. So and I say this often, what I've learned here is to, when I'm having an emotional response, to take a really deep breath. And I say this all the time because I heard it from somebody in all of my parenting wisdom. Take a deep breath. A deep breath is my first sentence. That is what my first sentence has to be. My first sentence is not words. It is a deep breath. And what that does is it interrupts the cycle of whatever script I'm operating from, and it will allow me to access materials. It will allow me to access, what am I feeling? What is going on? And 99% of the time it's a fear. I'm scared I am going to lose something. I am scared my children are sociopaths and they're going to be bad. I'm like scared they're going to turn out like I did, which was not good for a long time. I am scared they are going to turn out like their father, who I've got so many judgmental feelings about. All of this fear. And I am slowly starting to understand, and how I'm improving is seeing the value my ex-husband brings to my children. That's amazing. To go from this guy, who I know you know, Chris, and this guy that I used to introduce as somebody I couldn't stand, and how I can now see how in my relationship with him, I would yell. And he's absolutely got issues, for sure. But all I can do is me. And so not to react so strongly like I've learned, that's on me. That is not on my parents. That's on me. And it is important for me not to be, I don't have to be a victim in that anymore with him. I'm not with him anymore. So if he's doing something, I accept that this is a situation that exists. And with my children, if they do something, it does not work to yell at children. It didn't work with me. Allowing them to feel their feelings and ask them, and channel, instead of a critical parent, channel critical thinking. What do you think is best? That, I hear you. I hear that that's what's happening. And when something occurs that I'm not super excited about with my children, or myself, which is the reparenting of myself, it's to ask me, what am I feeling? What am I afraid of? And what can I do next? Those are the scripts that I have now, or the interruptions in my scripts that I've learned to manage in order to not operate from over-responsibility, or it's not called this, but being a total asshole so that nobody can hurt me. Whatever those traits are that I want to use in my toolbox that day based on the situation, it is about slowing down and allowing myself to feel something. Because what I've done in my life has been a workaholic, for sure. Thought that I was way behind in life because I chose to spend a lot of time drinking and doing drugs. and a lot of time not trying to be my parents. And trying to run from that has not done much in terms of, yeah, it's gotten me, it's definitely had its benefits, don't get me wrong. But I don't want to be a parent who behaves like a psycho. I don't want to be yelling at their dad, which luckily I don't. I don't do that today most of the time. There was a tornado. I have to say I'm not perfect. And how we handle what I perceive to be extreme situations were very different. But most of the time, I don't speak ill of him. I really, really work at that. With myself, I don't judge myself as harshly for mistakes. And I can't do that to other people unless I'm doing that to myself, unless I learn to do that to myself. So I don't know how long I've talked. That's probably good, right? It's a good 20 minutes. ACA. So I keep coming. I still have a lot to learn, and I'm grateful to be here. And for all of you, thank you.
Thanks, Martha.
Thanks, Martha. Thanks for listening to our recording of the West County Speaker Series here in St. Louis, Missouri. For more information on meetings in the St. Louis area, visit www.acastl.org.